Hello and welcome back to the next episode of the Felix Pate Music Podcast, talking all things music. I'm joined today by my good friend Oscar Lindley. Welcome, Oscar.
Yo,
We've done a lot of music together over the last couple of years, haven't we?
yeah, we have to be fair.
Our personal pianist.
Buble, things like that.
So we're here. Buble is quite apt because he's one of the three artists we've chosen to discuss today. So let's start with him. What is it about Michael Buble that you love, Oscar?
I've been listening to Michael Bublé since I was like 5 or 6 years old. Loves jazz and things like that. And Michael Bublé is obviously one of them, especially now.
I mean, go on.
So yeah, I've listened to him for basically all of my life. I can't remember a time of when not listening to Michael Bublé.
Yeah, I've got artists that I like that personally for me. I mean, I think he's one of those artists you hear on the radio all the time, and you hear a song and you think, oh, I know that song from somewhere else, but when you hear his voice, he puts such a distinctive mark on it. Because a lot of his biggest songs are covers, but he does them in such a way that he makes them his own.
Yeah, like Feeling Good.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I mean, that I first knew that as the Muse version. But when I heard his version, as soon as you hear his voice, you think, oh, that's Buble, and he's done a great version. He is, to me, he's kind of a modern day Frank Sinatra, that kind of big band sound, takes all the classic songs and puts his own spin on them and makes them really come alive.
I mean, that's just his thing, the big breakdown towards the back end of the songs where it's all like the trumpets and the saxophones and things all going. It's just powerful.
Yeah. And musically, yeah, he does have a lot of things from jazz, but I mean the song I'm most known for, one of his original songs, not feeling good. Talk about that. Haven't met you yet. That's actually got really simple chords. If you put a cap on your first fret, guitarist, just go C to F, D minor, A minor to G. So those aren't particularly jazzy chords, but it's more in terms of the arrangement. He's got so many strings and horns and percussion. It's kind of a wall of sound that you'd expect from the 50s and the 60s, and he's translated it to the modern day really well.
Yeah. A lot of his original like that. Like side of things, like it's like you say with all like the string instruments, like Nobody But Me album, his actual single tune, Nobody But Me, that's quite similar to that. I mean, it's got a bit of the trumpets and the things like that, but it's mostly guitar.
Yeah. And I mean, we did his version of All I Want for Christmas last December. We did it with piano and vocal. But he manages to jazz that up from the Mariah Carey version. Takes it right down, jazzes up some of the chords, and it's probably, in my mind, a better version for it.
I think it's a better version for singing.
Yeah. But it really, I think it makes the lyrics seem more meaningful in his version with the tempo.
You're gonna need to repeat that. You can't on my end.
Yeah, it's just about the way he makes you feel the lyrics more with the slower tempo and just having the piano there. I think more to the essence of the song.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It takes it right down and it feels more like rather than a big upbeat dance number.
Definitely. I mean, he's been quiet-ish, I'd say, over the last few years. I mean, his big commercial success, late 2000s, early 2010s, but you still see him popping up on adverts and TV shows and stuff like that.
Yeah, well, he releases a few like singles here and there. He's still doing shows at the moment. But he had some personal family issues, didn't he? Was it cancer?
Oh, I don't know.
Yeah, it was cancer. I'm pretty sure it was cancer, or there was something. So he took a lot of time off and stuff, obviously, to look after his family.
Yeah, but he's the foremost kind of big band jazz artist of the 21st century. He kind of brought it back. in a way that I can't recall off the top of my head anyone else really did. Just trying to think. There's not really anyone who took that 50, 60 swing style and did it like he did to such a commercial, successful level.
Yeah.
So, a very good choice. Let's move on to your second choice of artist, the man who can fill a stadium, and I'm rather envious of him being able to fill a stadium with a guitar, a loop pedal, and himself. We are, of course, talking about Mr. Ed Sheeran. Tell me a little bit about your love of Ed Sheeran, because I know it's vast.
I think the first time I met an Ed Sheeran was when I was in year 6, and it was when his Plus album came out. And it was Drunk Again. I'm pretty sure I haven't listened to it in years, but I remember thinking to myself, I was like, I don't reckon I really like the song. And then I got to know some of his other ones, like Small Bump and You Need Me, I Don't Need You, which is his best song created. Like, just there's no arguing about
It is a
Easily his best song.
masterpiece.
So yeah, ever since about year 6, I've been listening to him live a few years ago when he was on his Divide tour, and that was such a good experience. Like,
Imagine.
I think that was almost as good as when I went to see Panic at the Disco.
Who we spoke about last week, so check out last week's episode. I'll put a link in the description. But yeah, I started getting into Ed Sheeran around the time of Divide. I think it was when he performed at the Brits and he did Shape of You and Castle on the Hill after they'd just gone straight in at 1 and 2, and he did the Shape of You version with Stormzy at the Brits. But that album is just, in terms of success and how many songs he got in the charts from that album, it is incredible. And
yeah,
power to him in the age of streaming services. He's managed to get that many songs in the charts that people are actually still sitting down and listening to every track on an album. I think is very impressive.
Yeah, a lot of people just find things that they think are going to be good and listen to them and just beat. But I think the thing with Divide was that there was a lot of differentiation. You know, he had like the own rap style with like Girl and New Man, and then he also had his ballads of like and half. Well,
we got Perfect on there as well, haven't you? Which is so simple.
And then obviously Christmas, I think 2018 or 17, him and Beyonce got Christmas #1 with their version.
And he had the version with Andrea Bocelli as well.
Yeah, he did. Yeah, that went really successful. I remember my mum used to listen to that all the time.
And I think the thing that impresses me most about him is I would describe his music as genreless. He just crosses so many boundaries, takes in so many influences. You only have to look at the breadth of people he's collaborated with. He's collaborated with everyone.
I mean, yeah, look at
Elton John. Who else can do that?
Yeah, literally, like in his operations, you know, he's with Stormzy, he's with some other rappers and things like that who make totally different kind of music to what you'd expect from Ed Sheeran. You know, Take It Back Down, and he collabed with like Camila Cabello, and then
that last track on the album, Blow, that is a rock song that some of the 70s classic rock bands would be proud of, with Bruno Mars and Chris Stapleton.
That song is a masterpiece.
Oh, I've not dropped my string. Oh dear. I can't get to the low note.
No.
Something like that. I can't get to the low D. But yeah, that is a proper full-out rock song. And he managed to play that. I've seen videos of it on YouTube. He managed to play that live on his own, which I found amazing the way he managed to.
I've not seen that.
It's so good. With just him and an acoustic guitar, he manages to still make it rock. I mean, even the stuff he did before he got signed, I've read a couple of his biographies. And he was so systematic in the way he wanted to get a record deal that he put out these 5 EPs. He'd have a folk EP, he did a live EP, and then his last one, number 5 collaborations. It was basically a grime EP. He collaborated with like 10 or 12 proper grime musicians, but you could still tell it was Ed Sheeran acoustic hip hop.
Yeah.
Hip hop is how I'm gonna kind of label it, but he just brings in all these influences and makes it work. It's amazing. I mean, if we take a song like Sing, which we were due to perform, that is so kind of early noughties R&B. It's that's pure Justin Timberlake.
Yeah.
It's
I tune. I remember when I first heard it, thinking to myself, "No, I'm pretty sure I've heard that." And then, obviously, I found out it was Ed Sheeran, and it was from his new album Multiply at the time. And I was like, this sounds similar to some other things. And then, obviously, he's more of the high pitched vocals in his chorus. I suddenly was like, you know what? Clearly, this man is actually very talented, because that is.
Well, you didn't want to attempt it, did you?
No. I could maybe do it now, because like my voice is now a lot stronger. But like back then, I wouldn't have.
And then, I mean,
to the song.
He lays claim to possibly the most successful song ever in Shape of You. Again, it's just 4 chords repeated all the way through. And then that riff. That riff is so simple, and yet that song has just been streamed and watched.
It was number 1
billions and
weeks upon weeks upon weeks.
Something like 17 weeks. And it's so simple. It is that marimba riff, some kind of drums on the guitar, a bit of strings at the end, and him kind of rapping over the top. It is so simple, yet such a brilliant song.
I think you're right. It probably was his most song.
And I think
apart from possibly Perfect.
Yeah. He's in an age where streaming kind of makes it difficult to get noticed and stay on top of the charts for so long, and to do it in the way he has, where he's not used any electronic. I mean, the charts are flooded with electronic music and dance music, and to do it the way he has, so organically, and to tour stadiums all over the world with no band, it's just phenomenal. He is a one-off, a special talent. I don't think we won't see much like him in the very
no, I don't think anything as similar to the kind of performance that he gives.
Because so many people since then have tried to copy him, and nobody's come close.
Yeah, no, I agree. Like, I think it was a first of what ended up being many, and I think he took it by storm, and then suddenly it was like, oh, this just sounds like Ed Sheeran. I'd rather just listen to Ed Sheeran.
The only person who's come close to him in matching that trajectory, for me, is Adele.
With like a basic piano stuff and things like that.
The way they've made the music, gone against the grain, had so many people try to copy them, and no one can, because it's such. They're so talented, and they've got such a unique skill set. It's phenomenal, both of them.
Yeah.
Okay, let's move on to the third artist. Now, you picked this artist knowing that they are my favourite band of all time, and it's not a cool thing to say, but they are my favourite band ever. I love all sorts of music, but when I'm down, I just need something to listen to that I know I can sing every word to. I would just put on my Take That playlist. Talk to me about Take That.
Take That's a similar kind of thing for me as Michael Buble was. My mum loves a bit of Gary Barlow and Robbie Williams and stuff like that. Obviously, before Robbie Williams left, and I used to sing to all their songs. The very first song I ever performed I think I was in year 4, and I performed in front of 100 odd people, maybe 200, something like that. And it was their bonus track at the end of Wooden Boat.
Yeah.
Honestly, like back then, I didn't realize it was a bonus track. I didn't realize it was not like one of their well-known ones. But it was such a heartfelt song, and I'm dying to look for to perform it again, just to like compare like how far I've come from back then to now. And obviously, like I think that's not actually my favorite song. I think my favorite 2 songs are Patience and Shine, which I've performed at S-Fest the other year.
Such a good song. I mean, obviously it's a piano-based tune, but it's such a great piece of classic British songwriting. The way the chords change, the melody, and then Patience is... It's so delicate, it's so heartfelt, those chords. Going into the big chorus with the falsetto. I'm not going to attempt to sing it because it's way too high.
I
way down. I bring it down probably.
I'm training myself to hit those notes now. I'm getting close.
But that song, I mean, I got into Take That. It's funny, Patience. It came out on my 5th birthday, so I feel a kind of connection to the band because of that. It's their comeback single. But I got into Take That in the weirdest of ways. I still am, a bit of a nerd. And I really like Professor Brian Cox. Now, Professor Brian Cox actually plays keyboards as well. And I play keyboards. So he was kind of, he does science and he plays keyboards. I like him. And I found a video of him on YouTube playing keyboards with Gary Barlow playing Back for Good. And I thought, this is a nice song. I've heard this before. I've heard a few Take That songs. And that day, I sat for probably 2 hours and watched every single Take That music video on YouTube. And from that moment on, I've been obsessed, to say the least. I've seen them 3 times in the last 8 years. I saw them in Middlesbrough in June last year, was the most recent time I've seen them. And for me, Gary Barlow is one of the top 5 British songwriters of all time. It's not cool to say that, but his knack for a melody and the just hit after hit after hit he's written 14 number ones, 12 for the band, 2 solo. The band themselves have had 14 number ones. They are just the perfect pop band for me.
Yeah. I mean, like that. I find myself like listening to a bit of Take That and then not listening to them for months and months, and then suddenly I'll rediscover some of the. I haven't listened to these in a while, and like the same way I did. Like my music taste is changing constantly. Like I'm just a little bit all over the place, but there's some things like Michael and Take That like I can happily listen to their songs that I know well. Like, like it.
Oh yeah, I completely agree. I mean, lockdown has given me a great chance to discover a lot of new music, and I have found a lot of new bands that I really like. But whenever a Take That song comes on, I have every single Take That song in my playlist, B-sides, album tracks, all sorts. And pretty much every single one that comes on, I can sing along every word. I can hum along to all the instrumental bits in between the words. It's quite sad, but they are just... I've learned to play so many of their songs on the guitar and the piano. I love singing them and playing just their melodies. The lyrics aren't really deep like a Springsteen or a Dylan, but you feel something when you hear a lot of their lyrics. I mean, their lyrics are probably best on Progress, which is the album where Robbie came back. It's their last album as a 5-piece, because he is a really good lyricist. And marrying Gary's musical ability on that album with Robbie and Mark's lyrics, it is my favourite. I don't know. It's probably my joint favourite album with the album they did after, which is 3. But those 2 albums take so many influences, especially electronic, which I really like, electronic music from the 80s. Those 2 albums are the peak of Take That for me.
Yeah.
And I even watched their Lockdown concert on Compare the Meerkat the other night. That was brilliant to see them performing the songs in a different way. I mean, if we take a song, probably their biggest song is Back for Good. And I think it's been a common theme through all the songs we've demonstrated on the 2 episodes so far. It's really simple. Again, it's 4 chords all the way through. If you put your cap on the 3rd fret, guitarist, D, E minor, G, A, and it's basically that all the way through. And that song got to number 1 in 31 countries. It's just phenomenal. It's their only American hit. It's simplicity is the key for me when you're writing a great song.
Yeah.
So, and live, they are one of the best bands around. Their productions are so good with the costumes, the dancers, fireworks.
Yeah, I need to go see Take That concert.
Elephant. I mean, one of my dad's friends has got the mechanical elephant from the circus store in his back garden, and I'm desperate to go to this man's house just to see the elephant. I had the Giant Man on the Progress tour. Last year when I went to see them, they had a giant Pac-Man with their greatest hits album logo on it, which kept spinning round, and you saw the band come in and out of it. Their stage shows are probably better than their records. Their live band is fantastic. Their live band is actually the same band that play with the Electric Light Orchestra, so you've got to be a good musician to be in that band. So they really add a lot of power to the live performances. They're just a quintessentially great British pop band. They were a boy band in the 90s, and they were a bit raunchy, some of the videos with the tops off squirting whipped cream over each other, but they've really matured since the comeback, and they are a man band now. I mean, Howard's in his 50s now, so they just write really good pop songs that so many people love, especially middle-aged women, which is why I always feel awkward at a Take That concert.
You'd be surrounded by middle-aged women.
I was me and my dad were the only men in a 10-foot radius all around.
That's so funny. That doesn't surprise me.
Yeah, he wasn't singing, I was. I think
No.
he sang at the end. He sang Rule the World, which is another phenomenal song. So, yeah, those are your 3 top artists. If you had to rank them from 3 to 1.
Buble, Ed Sheeran 2, Take That 3.
Oh, we discussed them in the right order then. And, of course, we are the FP Music Podcast here, so it'd be remiss not to discuss just finally what's been going on in the FP Music world. This is the unscripted part of the podcast. So let's get Oscar's real live opinion to some of the tracks that he's heard of mine.
All right.
Well, what do you think? What's your honest opinion of the FP Music brand, Oscar?
Your most successful one, and definitely still your best one, is Rebel Without a Cause.
You've said last week.
You what?
You're echoing what Georgia said last week. Rebel. I don't know why, and I don't
surprised
know.
Me, like it became kind of like an anthem at soccer. Like we all knew it. Like
and that just shocked me.
It.
Amazing. I don't know how it happened, but I was glad it did. So in terms of
everyone was just ready for you to start your and put out stuff that we all thought that we could all write, and then you came out with actually not a bad track as your first ever.
And it's all been downhill from there. No, I'm kidding.
No, you've had. I haven't listened to your music in a while, but you obviously we had that one that you and I both. You did the music.
Well, yeah,
I did the lyrics. And helped out with the timings and stuff.
We've kind of co-written the song. It's probably the only time really so far I've co-written a song. I mean, you came to me with the lyrics and you had an idea of a melody. So I listened to your voice record and I sat down at the piano. I worked out what chords would go with it, and we molded it into a pretty good song. And we played it live last year, and it got good reception.
Yeah, it wasn't. For a first collaboration.
It was good. So hopefully there might be some more in the
So
future.
yeah,
New stuff. I have got a newish single. It's a couple of weeks old now. It's called When the Beat Drops. If you've ever wanted to hear what dance music might sound like with just an acoustic guitar, it's the song for you. So the link will be in the description. Go check it out. I'm working on a couple of songs at the moment. Lockdown's been really great for writing and recording. So remains for me to say, Oscar, thank you for joining me today to discuss your musical influences. It's been a pleasure as always. And we will see you next time. I haven't confirmed who it's going to be, but it'll be a good guest, whoever it will be. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. I've been Felix Pate. All the best.